All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into one of the most intense, talked about meditation courses out there. This is all about Vipassana.
Okay, so picture this. 10 full days. You're meditating for more than 10 hours a day, and here's the kicker. Total silence. No talking, no reading, no writing. You even have to hand over your phone. It's a complete and total disconnect from everything.
So that naturally makes you wonder, right? What in the world is happening inside one of these places? I mean, why would anyone sign up for something that intense? Well, that's exactly what we're here to do. We're going to break down the whole thing, the rules, the actual technique, and the thinking behind it all.
So first things first, what does Vipassana even mean? The word itself translates to seeing things as they really are. And it's super important to know this isn't taught as a religion. Think of it more like a practical method, a tool for self-observation, to really get a handle on how your own mind works.
But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the course, you've got to understand where this all comes from. I mean, this is no modern fad. It has this incredible history, a really deep lineage.
So the lineage goes way, way back. We're talking over 2,500 years ago when the Buddha is said to have rediscovered it. Now, over time, the technique was actually lost in India, but get this, it was perfectly preserved in Burma, passed down from teacher to student. Fast forward to the 20th century, a teacher named U Ba Khin starts making it accessible to regular folks. And his student, S.N. Goenka, is the guy who really brought it back to India and then, to the whole world, starting back in 1969.
And this quote from Goenka really just hits the nail on the head. He didn't want people to think of this as some kind of faith-based thing. For him, it was a science of mind and matter. It's about you exploring your own reality directly, like a scientist in a lab.
All right, so let's get to the part you're probably most curious about. What does it actually feel like to be there? What do you do for 10 days? Let's walk through the journey step by step.
Okay, so to even begin this kind of inner work, you need to set up the perfect laboratory conditions. That's what all these rules are about. You agree to live by 5 basic ethical rules. And you have to maintain noble silence. That's not just no talking. It's silence of your body and mind, too. The super strict schedule, no distractions, it all creates this container for the experiment. So the only variable left to study is your own mind.
The whole 10-day training is built on a 4-step framework. It's really logical when you see it. You start with śīla, or morality. That's the foundation, the rules we just talked about. Then you build samādhi, or concentration. From there, you develop paññā, which is wisdom. And it all wraps up with mettā, loving kindness. So let's see how that actually unfolds. So for the first 3 whole days, you have one job and one job only: sharpen your mind. The technique is called ānapāna, and the instruction sounds almost laughably simple. Just watch your breath. That's it. Just feel the sensation of the air at the entrance of your nostrils. But oh my gosh, if you've ever tried to do this for even 2 minutes, you know the reality. Your mind goes everywhere. But you just keep at it, and slowly, very slowly, that focus starts to get a little stronger. Then, day 4 hits, and boom, everything changes. This is when the real Vipassana technique is introduced. You stop focusing just on the breath, and you start systematically scanning your entire body, piece by piece, just noticing whatever sensation you find. And let me tell you, this is where it gets real. You start feeling all this stuff: intense pain in your knees, an itch on your back, heat tingling, and the instruction through all of it is the same, simple but incredibly hard. Just observe it. Don't react.
And just when you think it can't get any harder, they introduce something called adhitthana, sittings of strong determination. 3 times a day, for a full hour, everyone sits together and you make a solid vow not to move at all. Don't move your hands, don't shift your legs, don't open your eyes. This is where the training really kicks into high gear. But it's really important to get this next part. The instructors make it super clear. The point isn't to torture yourself. It's not some kind of masochistic exercise. The whole idea is to train your mind to be able to look at reality, even really uncomfortable reality, square in the face and not immediately react. To see those sensations for what they are, without that overwhelming compulsion to just move. So, you hit the middle of the course, days 5 through 7, and you're just practicing, over and over and over. You scan your body, and you learn to treat a spot that's screaming in pain with the exact same neutral attention as a spot that's totally numb. And if you stick with it, something really cool often happens. Many people experience what's called a free flow, this feeling of a continuous subtle vibration running through their entire body. It's a major milestone. And this is where you start to see real, tangible progress. By day 9, a lot of the same people who could barely sit still on day 4 find they can actually make it through that full hour of strong determination. They can literally feel the wave of pain come up, they observe it, and then they feel it dissolve and pass away, all without having to move a muscle. It's an incredible feeling.
Okay, so that's the what. That's what you're doing for 10 days. But the bigger question is why? Why does sitting still and observing sensations do anything at all? What's the core principle here? Let's dig into the theory behind it. The whole entire practice, from start to finish, is engineered to teach you one fundamental truth about the universe, not from a book, but from your own direct experience. And that truth is anicca, or impermanence. It's the profound realization that every single thing you feel, good, bad, intense, subtle, is in a constant state of change. It arises and it passes away. Nothing lasts. And right here, this is the secret sauce. This is how you rewire your mind. Think about it. Normally, a sensation pops up. If it's pleasant, we want more of it. That's craving. If it's unpleasant, we want it to go away. That's aversion. And that constant push and pull, that's what causes so much of our stress and unhappiness. Vipassana teaches you a new way. You learn to just observe this sensation with a balanced mind, with equanimity. And when you do that, you stop feeding the old habit. You're literally breaking the cycle of reaction at its root.
So, where does this all lead? What's the big takeaway after 10 days of this incredibly hard work? Well, on day 10, after all that intense, inward-looking work, the focus shifts completely. You're taught a new meditation called mettā, the practice of loving kindness. It's all about taking the peace and balance you've cultivated inside and sharing it outwardly, sending goodwill to all beings. It's a really beautiful way to round out the experience. And when you ask people what they get out of it, the answers are surprisingly down to earth. We're not talking about levitating or anything. We're talking about real-world wins, a sharper mind, being less emotionally reactive, and a much greater ability to handle the inevitable discomforts of life. It's a real, tangible sense of inner peace that feels like you've truly earned it. And you can see the impact just by looking at the numbers. Since Goenka started back in '69, this has exploded to over 170 permanent centers all over the globe. And here's what's wild. It's all run on donations. The only reason it's grown is because people who've taken the course find it so valuable that they donate to make it possible for others. You hear this sentiment over and over again from people who've done it. They'll say it was one of the best, most important experiences of their life, but they'll always follow it up with, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. It's this perfect summary of the whole thing. It's incredibly valuable, but you have to work for it.
So I'll leave you with this final question, which is really the core of the whole teaching. What if the deepest kind of change, the most lasting freedom, doesn't come from trying to control our feelings, trying to get rid of the bad ones and hold on to the good ones? What if instead it comes from fundamentally changing our relationship to them?